What exactly is a KPI and what should you be tracking?
We are Phil and Sam from Firewave and we're going to show you.
It's really important to track the key figures in your agency to make sure that you're actually heading in the right direction. But what figures should you track? So what does KPI actually mean?
Key performance indicators.
And that's the words, key performance. So these are an indication of key performance. But when we first started Ashdown Jones, we had a lot of conversations about this because some things you can actually control and influence and some things you can't. We don't believe we can really influence viewings. And also, do we really want 24 viewings to a sale or do we want one viewing for a sale? So it's not really something that we want to put down as one of our KPIs. But what we have got is we've got outbound KPIs, things that we can influence and action, and then the results from those KPIs, so the inbound. And the idea being if you do enough of the right kind of outbound, the right kind of inbound results happen.
So outbound are fairly simple.
Just four?
Direct mail sales letters, which I'm sure we have told you all about. Our blogs on our website, and we disperse that all over our social media. Networking.
That might just be as simple as a coffee with somebody, a local business owner.
Or wine.
It could be, or wine. It could be about going to an event. It could be about putting an event on of your own. So those are all kind of networking. It's community building, really. And the last one is social media posts.
Social media posts. And that's a whole variety of posts. Lives. I know you all love to go live.
Facebook Lives.
The
TikToks.
Instagrams. Everything as much as you can. And get your team to do it as well. So when we go out to some valuations, they feel like they know us just because they've seen us so much on social media. In fact, I had a call from my little boy's school this morning asking me for marketing advice because they've seen me on social media.
That's opened a whole can of worms.
I've not seen my fee yet.
So if you could put a number next to these four each month and then you could track that over time, what you should see is these going up because these go up. And there should be a direct relationship between the two. There might be a gap of a few months between the two. That's why it's really important to track it over time. You might want to track these weekly. We do. Or you might want to track them monthly. Or if you've got a big agency, you might want to track them daily. The important thing is you track them. What gets inspected gets respected. Isn't that right?
That is correct.
Okay, so what happens then when you put these out is you get these in. So what are the inbound KPIs that we track?
Valuations or appraisals, whatever you choose to call them.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of valuations that are then instructed, and we try and get a percentage of the only ones that go to market. I think it's not an accurate figure, the ones that don't go to market. It's not our job to convince someone necessarily to go to market unless it's best advice. And therefore we only track the ones that actually go to market. So
what you might want to do is you might want to call the valuations that go to market a valuation, but the other one's a meeting or consultation. You could then distinguish them that way.
Yeah. Then from instruction to launch to there's not that much we can influence in terms of viewings and viewings to offers.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much you can influence on an actual viewing. So therefore, it's not something we track as tightly as this. It is something that we have and we look at infrequently to see if there's anything we need to look at. But there is definitely something we can control from instructed to banked.
Yes.
And that's obviously an important figure. And then from banked, we look at what is our average fee and we make sure it's either consistent or going up. And
that's average fee in money, not average fee in percentages, because our average fee in percentage never changes. It's always the same, 1.5%. So what you'll also see is something called year to date as well. So not only do we track the number of valuations that week or that month, we also track the number of valuations in the entire year up to that point. And I think that's really useful. So you can see the cumulative effect, because you might not have one for weeks, but actually we might have had a much bigger number that year. So that's why we track all these valuations, instructions, banked, all and year to date, as well as that particular time period. So there are our KPIs. We'd be interested to know what your KPIs are. But if you'd like to be in the know with this kind of information, tips, advice, mentorship and coaching, and so this is where to go to find out whether your area is available.
It's www.fire-wave.co.uk/start.
And you can then put an application in to have at least a chat with us. It's no obligation at that stage, but we'll have a chat and see if it's a good fit for you and tell you more about how to be a FireWave client and what that entails. See you then.